Hi, this is Chad Dumas of ReeceNichols, and today I got a chance to sit down with Andy Locke of Summit Restaurant Group. I have a huge amount of respect for Andy and really learn a lot from him on a day-to-day basis on how he runs his businesses. He runs things right. He gives a lot of thought into every single decision he makes, but it's been really awesome to watch the creativity that he and his team have really attacked this whole stay-at-home order with. They're doing some really cool things, and he's going to get a chance to tell us about all those things in this interview. He also talks a lot about what his business philosophy in general is and how he's built a team of 400 really great employees right here in the metro across their 7 restaurants. So hopefully you guys take as much out of this interview as I did, but I'll tell you one thing, I can learn a lot from talking to guys like this. Anyway, here's Andy Locke. All right, it's Chad Dumas, and I'm here today with one of my favorite business owners in the Lee Summit area and really all the Kansas City area, and that's Andy Locke. Hello, Andy. Thanks for joining today, man.
Chad, how are you, brother? Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate, one, you doing this for different area businesses, but just two, in general today, what you're doing for us and for me, man. It means a lot. So thank you very much for doing this. I'm excited to talk to you.
Oh, man, my pleasure. Well, thanks for joining, and really just thanks for everything you do for Lee Summit in general. It's an honor being running another business here in the same city as you. And I'll be honest with you, you may not know this, but I watch a lot of what you do and try to implement many of those things into my own business. And really, that's one of the things that kind of spurred this idea to even record this series with. I try to draw on the great ideas that other business leaders across our area implement, and especially in these type of times when things aren't necessarily as easy as they've ever been. And then I tried to figure out what can I, use in my business. And man, you've actually thrown out a lot of ideas here that while not exactly in line with what we do, we'll be able to take and tweak them and use in our business too. So I appreciate you being such a bright mind in the business world here. But I want to just dig in real quick. So obviously, you got multiple restaurants all across the metro. So you're definitely not just a Lee Summit guy, although you are a Lee Summit guy. But tell us real quick about that's right. But tell us real quick about what all restaurants the Summit Restaurant Group has and where you operate all across the metro.
So first of all, you are right about this point in time, man. It's a really tricky point in time, obviously, in all of our lives, all of our businesses, man. And I think the ones that can kind of pivot their business model quickly and build trust in the guests and the people we serve on a daily basis are the ones that'll kind of come out this backside and be successful, man. So it's really unprecedented times that we're all working through. And so, we're in a situation now that we've got multiple concepts in multiple parts of the city. We've got Summit Grill in Lee Summit. We've got Pearl Tavern in Lee Summit. We've got Thirsty Social in Lee Summit. So those are our 3 concepts kind of in the triangle of Lee Summit, all offering different cuisines. We've got Summit Waldo, our new Mexican concept in Waldo called South of Summit, which is actually east of Summit. So that's an interesting situation there, but it's going great. And then we also have Ramen, which is our ramen concept. It's our Asian concept in Waldo. So they're kind of all 3 in a line in Waldo. And then we have our one-off concept that sits off by itself in the Northland. We've got a brand new Summit Grill in Gladstone. Actually, not brand new. It's about a year old. So those are our concepts. We've got 7 restaurants in the metropolitan Kansas City area, and our home is Lee Summit, where we started, and we branched out from there. So we're just kind of fighting the battle, man. But those are our concepts.
Man, yeah, that's a lot of restaurants. So how many employees do you have roughly? I don't expect you to know that to the exact number, but across those 7 places, how many employees do you have?
Well, actually, through all the tough times over the last month or so, we know pretty much exactly how many employees we have, because we've been dealing with the payroll protection stuff and trying to figure out a way to keep our core group together and keep everybody together to come out the backside of this and hopefully operate like we did when we opened up. So we've got roughly 400 employees.
Wow.
And we're very proud of that. And we've built quite a family, and we consider them that. So we've got it right at 400, and hopefully we'll continue to grow that. But that's where we are as of today.
Wow, man. I had no idea when I asked that question. That's incredible. Man, I'll tell you, the employees, and certainly it starts with leadership, but your employees are so consistent. All at every restaurant, you see me all the time, right? When at Third Street Social mostly, but Summit Grill, Pearl Tavern, I love those places. But man, the experience is always incredibly consistent. And I know this isn't exactly about a pivot, but talk about real quickly, if you would, how do you create that type of consistent environment across your restaurants to where, 400 people, I mean, that's a lot of people to manage and to get a high level of customer service from and that sort of thing. How do you guys accomplish that?
I think we might, I don't know if we approach this maybe differently than other people do. But we might. The first thing we obviously look for is just a nice person, a good person. There's a lot of people that will look for, experience. And don't get me wrong, experience in the restaurant industry is important. But I think if you start with the right people that are hungry, that want to do well, that want to learn, you can pretty much teach anybody to do anything if you approach it correctly. So we really try to hire the right person, hire nice people, and that's a really simple. That's a simple business model, but it's worked for us. And obviously, we're not perfect. No business is perfect, but for the most part, we just really try to focus on great people, bring them in the door, train them correctly, teach them correctly, follow up with them, and empower them to do things that we're not solving the world's problems in our restaurants. We're just trying to be nice and hospitable and serve good drink and food. So that's what we approach it.
That's awesome, man. Well, you're doing a great job at that. All of your restaurants are definitely driven to you have great bar areas, you have great restaurant areas. Some of your restaurants, you even take, like Pearl Tavern, you take a table during happy hour and you divide it in two, and you got multiple families sitting next to each other. Third Street Social, right, is that's the whole entire concept, is a social environment, the old Arnold Hall and so forth. Through this stay-at-home order and through this pandemic, really, you've lost the ability to create that type of environment in a lot of ways. But you mentioned the word pivot earlier. What have you done to pivot to try to kind of create still that type of environment, even though they're not inside your restaurant?
Man, that's tricky. That is so tricky, and that's something that so kind of to back up for a minute, and let you know how we deal with it every day. So every day. At 10:30 in the morning, we get our leadership team on a FaceTime call, and we have about an hour call, and we talk about the challenges for the next 24 hours, and then we'll talk about kind of the long-term challenge, what we see coming down the road. So there's a lot to this, man. This is so unprecedented in all of our lives that, first of all, I guess you got to make sure that you're following the guidance from, the city, county, state that are kind of giving you a little bit of a roadmap to get open back up and what their expectations are. But also, you understand, man, this is a serious situation that you are. It's real easy to put the almighty dollar ahead of the safety of the general public right now. I know we're talking specifically about what we have going on, but I don't think you can do that. I don't think anybody should and can do that right now just because of the seriousness of the situation. So we have to make that priority number one in how we're going to deal with this opening. And then we'll move down to the dollar below that. So, between the social distancing of tables, the screening of employees when they come in the door, I think we're going to do some things maybe that are a step farther than what's asked of us. Because we want this to go well when we reopen. And a lot of people in this circumstance aren't even opening when they're allowed to open, like say, May 4th is go time, so let's open the doors and let's roll. Well, maybe that isn't the right thing to do. So not that we won't or aren't, we're still making sure that our plan is good and in place. But there's a lot of steps that we're going to put in place that maybe aren't directed to us, but maybe we feel like that are socially responsible of us and are good for our long-term business model. But the word pivot is exactly right, man. This is a huge pivot for all of us, and there's a lot of things involved in the outcome of this. Number one being the health and safety of our employees and our guests and our management teams and everybody involved, because you don't want to open this thing up and then have to, pivot back and shut it down and do things like that. And nothing's for sure. You don't you don't know, but you certainly got to try to do everything within your power to make sure that that doesn't happen. So that's kind of our mindset right now.
Man, I couldn't agree more. We're having the same conversations, and much of what you just said, we very much parallel. Where that's a baseline, right? What the CDC and what the government says, that's kind of a baseline, and then from there, the health and safety of employees and clients, that's the most critical thing through all this, and it is tricky. It's a really tricky time to try to navigate those waters, but I have no doubt that you and your leadership team will make great decisions through this. But I want to talk real quick about what you guys have pivoted on. And, some of the things we're seeing a lot of places, right? Curbside pickup, is something definitely that you guys didn't have in place before this, but you've launched curbside pickup, but specifically you even launched online ordering. And so, that you've got your 6-pack to go, you've got all these, you got meal, family meal plans, but walk me through some of your favorite things that you guys are implementing, and I'll tell you some of mine too.
Okay, great. Well, as we got into the first week or two of this, we started to see kind of a demand, and we saw other people kind of do it before we did. It's like, man, hey, maybe we better do this too. So the family packs that you mentioned, so we're doing taco packs at South of 7. All these are meant to feed between 4 and 6 people. And then if that's too much for you, you can kind of go back and just order off the regular menu. But we've got taco packs. We've got at South Sun, we've got fried chicken and fried chicken packs at Thirsty Social. We're doing pot pies for 4. We're doing meatloaf for 4. We're doing pot roast for 4. So we've got kind of different things that we've tried, and all those have stuck. So we do those on a daily basis now, which I think it makes it simpler for the guests. They know what they're getting. And also, when it comes to our portions, it's typically a situation where you can get a couple meals out of it. So a lot of times that's a benefit as well, taking a big portion home and then, getting a lunch out of it the next day or something, which makes the value piece of it better for you. And then we started looking at what people were looking for. We also started to say, let's one day, Amber Craig, our regional director, said, hey, let's try a margarita kit tomorrow. Let's see if we give them a nice bottle of tequila and mix up some of our margarita mix to go with it and some fresh lime and stuff. So then we sold out of it in like 2 hours. So we found that people are looking for not only food, but drink at home.
Oh, yeah.
And so we do margarita kits, mimosa kits on the weekends for brunch. We do Moscow Mule kits with a bottle of Tito's and some ginger beer and some limes. And so those things have been really popular. And something you mentioned earlier before we got on this call is our whole pies. So we've got our pastry chef at Thirsty Social. Actually, she does all our homemade desserts for all of our restaurants. Her name's Nikki. She's doing whole pies, and we're selling those, to go at Pearl Tavern and Thirsty Social. And she's having a hard time keeping up with them, but it's been a real success to this point as well.
I'll tell you, she's having a hard time keeping up with them just to my family. I'll tell you that much right now. It's man, we've done the key lime, we've done the chocolate chess. I want to do the peanut butter pie next. You guys, I mean, they're unbelievably good. But I want to go back real quick to the meal packs. The meal packs. I think, man. So my family, I've got 3 kids. One of them's 6 months old. He just turned 6 months old. Stacy is staying at home, watching him, homeschooling him, doing all this stuff. So just cooking a meal during this is really tough. I mean, we're juggling a lot of the same stuff we already were. Then you're just piling on schooling and that sort of thing. So cooking a meal, going to the grocery store, and that's another piece. Like the last thing we're going to do is drag kids to the grocery store, right? And in a lot of ways, we feel safer, frankly, ordering a meal kit or ordering even off of the regular menu and going to pick up versus going to the store. And then the time piece of cooking that food right now. So I love, the meal kits. I want to talk about this too. Easter, Mother's Day, those have to be 2 of your biggest days in a regular year, right? Like just in general, if things were normal, you probably got reservations stacked on top of reservation in the majority of your restaurants on those 2 holidays, wouldn't you?
Yeah, those are huge days for us, and the fact that this happened during the late spring, early summer when these things, you got your Easter, you got Mother's Day, you got Father's Day coming up, you got those are big holidays that all restaurants count on as part of kind of their yearly, their yearly sales goal. And when you lose those holidays, man, you got to try to figure out at least a way to make up for a little bit of it. So we went into Easter was kind of our first one of those challenges. And we went to say, what are people looking for? And we didn't know. So we kind of combined a kind of a honey baked ham and a nice piece of prime rib with the mashed potatoes and fresh vegetables and salad and rolls and all that stuff. And really weren't sure how well received it would be, but we ended up selling over 500 of those meals in our restaurant company. So between I think we had 5 of our 7 restaurants open that day. We sold 500 plus, which was way beyond expectations. So very well received. So we're kind of doing something similar for Mother's Day. We're going to do a nice roasted side of salmon and ham, and then some accompaniments with it of the same. But we wanted to make sure that Dad had an opportunity on Mother's Day to come pick up a nice meal and bring it home for Mom, because we were talking this morning. It's funny, Chad, on the call. We were talking about how many we had sold to this point for Mother's Day, and they're like, man, I don't think we sold hardly any yet. I'm like, well, here's the deal, guys. It's because Dad don't order 2 weeks out. Man, the moms are planning, they'll have stuff all planned out. But dads are waiting until like the 2 or 3 days before and go, oh man, we got to cook something for Mom on Mother's Day, because moms aren't ordering their own food for Mother's Day. It's not happening.
That's so exactly right.
We're pick up in the next 2 days and we'll sell some Mother's Day stuff, but we're pretty light to this point moving into that holiday.
So if someone wants to take advantage of that and order the salmon and the you said ham, was it ham was the other one?
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to order that meal, what do? They just call a restaurant and just let them know that they want to do that?
Yep. Call any of the Summit Grills, 3rd Street or Pearl Tavern, and we'll get it fixed up. And the company that's with that, I believe we're doing a cheesy potatoes and fresh asparagus and a salad and rolls. And we're doing for dessert, we're doing a chocolate gooey butter cake. So it's kind of been on the St. Louis gooey butter cake. I don't know if you've had that before, Chad, but if you haven't, you need it. And so we're doing a little spin on it. We're doing a chocolate gooey butter cake, and that's it's going to be a great meal. But that'll be the highlight of this meal, I promise you, because our pastry chef she ran that by us the other day, and we signed off pretty quick.
I bet. Well, hey, one thing you said in there at the very beginning of that was just, hey, these are some of our biggest days of the year, right? And so we can either, you didn't say this, but what I heard you say, reading between the lines, is we can either be dead in the water and just miss the opportunity to take advantage of these great days for us, or we can pivot. We can do something just a little bit different and make the best of it. And I love that you did that, man. And in turn, you sold 500 meals. By the way, then you made 500 families really happy all the way across the metro. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. And that's the kind of thing that I love. That's what I love that business leaders are stepping up and doing, thinking outside the box, doing something just a little bit different than normal, but still staying in your lane to a point where staying focused on what you do really well, right? I mean, year round, you make a heck of a prime rib sandwich. I know that because I eat it all the time, and so you said, this is the thing that we can do really well. Let's do it. Let's just do it a little bit different. I think that's really cool. So thanks for being creative on that, Andy.
Thank you.
One other thing I wanted to hit on real quick here too, and then we'll hop off, that another Kansas City company, Boulevard, I just saw Boulevard Brewery, that they're doing a bingo game, like a carry-out bingo game. And that to me is a Kansas City company supporting other Kansas City companies, which is what this is all about. But tell me what you know about that, because I saw several of your restaurants are on that card.
Well, first of all, I want to kind of take this a little bigger 10,000-foot view of this answer, because how cool is it that Boulevard does that for the local restaurants that, we support each other. We all support each other. But I'll tell you what, man, the city we live in, and specifically live in Lee Summit, you and I live in this area, but also are a huge part of, my partner Donald lives in Waldo. So we're all in this thing together, man. There's no city I'd rather be living in right now than where we live right now to get through this kind of stuff. And it kind of goes back to we sold 500 of those meals for Mother's Day. And yeah, we did. Hopefully, we did make a lot of people happy. But I tell you what, they made us happy too, man. It works both ways. It's like you doing this with me today, Boulevard doing this, just all of us scratching each other's backs. And this is, we're going to get through this together. And there's a lot of cities I don't know that can say that they're going to get through this as well as we're going to get through, just because we got each other's back. So thanks for what you do. Thanks for Boulevard. Thanks for everybody doing this. And we, hopefully we can help as many people as possible. Today we had a gentleman not donate, but do a $750 tab for first responders at 3rd Street. And so we put it out there on social, and the meals were gone in like 2 hours. So we, and we actually matched it, and we're doing some of that as well. So it is critically important that we all keep fighting through this thing together, and not only look to benefit ourselves, but look how we can help the other person next to us as well. So thanks for what you do, and this is going to make us all stronger and better at what we do, and just better in general moving forward, I think.
I agree, man. You mentioned that $750 tab. That was Country Financial. Unbelievable, man. I mean, just unbelievable, cool thing to do. And man, you just said it. I can't even add anything to what you just said. You said it perfectly. I agree with you. No other city I'd want to live in. Andy, thanks so much, man. Thanks for being such a big part of the city, and for everything you do every day. I cannot wait to get back into your restaurant for lunch. That's the thing. I'm sitting here at my desk, ordering takeout. It's still good food, right? But I can't complain. I'm still getting the Korean steak tacos, and by the way, the fried chicken mac and cheese that you guys have now, dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Man, I got to get out. I got to get out this time. I can get back out of the house and start moving around again. That's bad for me.
No doubt. But it's not quite the same, eating it here at my desk as it is, sitting in your restaurant. I can't wait to do that again very, very soon. And man, thanks again for taking the time to do this, and thanks for all you're doing.
Likewise, man. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. I'll see you soon, Chad.
You got it, man. Take care.
Thanks again, brother. See you.
All right. See ya.